Well, that is where the plough point shelter comes in. You can be even more prepared for this setup by having your tarp stuffed into the side pouch of your backpack. Then, when I need to deploy a shelter quickly, all I need to do is pull the tarp out of the side pocket of the pack, secure one corner of it to the tree just above head height. Then I pull my backpack away from the tree and peg out the remaining tie-up points. You'll notice that I haven't needed to use any guy lines. When all the tie-up points are pegged out, I just take the last corner piece of the tarp out of my pack, pull the tarp tight and peg it down. And that's it. I have an instant shelter that is set up in a matter of minutes. And if the wind changes to a different direction, then no problem. I just unpeg the tie-up points, rotate the tarp around the tree so that the back of the shelter is facing the wind, and then repeg it out. This shelter has plenty of space inside for sleeping and gear, and if I want to increase the space inside the shelter, I can do what I did with the Adirondack shelter at the beginning of the video and tie this off to a nearby tree. The one thing to be aware of when setting up this style of shelter, especially in windy conditions, is if there are any dead branches in the tree above your head. Try to avoid setting this shelter up under trees with precarious looking branches. If you are more of a ground sleeper and you like to sleep next to an open fire, then one of the best shelters to keep warm is a low profile stealth shelter. For this, I tie 3 prusik loops to the ridgeline. Then I lay my tarp out flat on the ground, with the front of it just underneath the ridgeline. Then I find the middle tie-up point at the front and secure this to the middle prusik loop above it. I do the same thing to the next 2 loops either side of the middle tie-up point, securing them to the wood toggles so that the tension of the tarp can be adjusted easily. Then I peg down the last 2 front tie-up points to the ground, which finishes off the opening of my shelter. There is now lots of wasted tarp at the back of the shelter, which I tuck underneath itself to be used as a ground sheet to keep me dry from the damp forest floor. Then I peg down the 3 tie-up points which are opposite the prusik loops of the ridgeline. I'll then peg out the next 2 tie-up points to the side of these, and I will finish it off by pegging out any remaining tie-up points, making sure that the tarp is pulled tight. Now I have a low profile stealth tarp shelter which has its own built-in ground sheet. This type of shelter is great for strong winds as it is low to the ground and only has a small footprint. However, it can be pretty restrictive in terms of space. But if you have a fire just in front of it, you can get the shelter really warm as it traps the heat very efficiently. And those are 5 of my favourite tarp shelter setups for winter bushcraft and camping. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe and be sure to check out my wilderness survival and bushcraft skills playlist for many more videos on this type of topic.